Hi, it's Sarah Jane at Natural Heating, and today I've come to look at, I'm all sooty, I've been playing up chimneys, funny enough. Today I've come to look at a Wham 4620C that was installed last week for my customer, and just let you see it and also have a bit of a play and make sure they know how to run it properly, because they'd like a little bit of assistance, which I'm always happy to do for customers. So he said we can take a video and have a look in his house, because this is a really old cottage with a new extension. So we've amalgamated old and new together, and it works very well for them. Here somewhere. This is Lily, wasn't it? Yeah, hi. Bert's about here somewhere too.
He's asleep.
Sleeping up his dinner.
There we go. So, this is a lovely little old cottage. But what we've actually chosen for in here, what is Lorraine, wasn't it?
Lorraine.
Yeah, I thought it was like, why did I have a brain fart and forgot? Sorry. So, Lorraine has been struggling with some mobility issues. So, to make it easier, we decided Lorraine decided that the Wham was a good choice because the door handle is very easy to access and get to. It's a bit higher. You can see the height of that beam, and you can see that I've got soot on my face already because I've been playing about with another fireplace next door. So it's a low beamed, very low cottage. I'm 5'7", so this is not much more than 6 foot ceiling height. Yeah. So there's not a lot of headspace in here. There's enough get to there, and then you can see that Mike's going to bump his head on the beams.
Well, you said that.
Oh, bless, look at that. So the good thing with this is it's at a nice height that's easy to load and open the doors on. And the handles stay cool on these. They're a really nice and easy fire to run. And because we've picked a grey one in this case scenario, grey is a really easy colour to maintain. Not just because it's modern and modern blends with old, but it does actually make your room look a bit lighter and it doesn't show up the dust. So you don't see any dusty layers on it. So if you're not into dusting, like me, I'm probably Lorraine, I guess, then nobody will ever know. So just to get started, today, I brought, thanks Mike. So just to get it started today, I brought some small logs and some kindling. I've got some kiln dried birch, and I like them nice and small for getting going. So these are about 2.5 inches square. So we'll have a couple of them in there. And we want to heat that chimney up nice and quick. So we'll have another couple on top. And then the kindling on top of that. And there's loads of nice flaky bark on this, so it'll take nice and quick without putting a crazy amount in. We'll put a fire lighter in that wee holy bit in the middle. Or another one on top. And that should be plenty. Now there's one air control on these, and the air control is down here. And you literally just turn it and close it. That's all there is to it. It's just the one air control that controls everything. Because this stove is semi-automatic, so it does most of everything on its own. There's an ash drawer, big ash cassette drawer, and runners underneath. And a storage area if you want to put kindling or fire lighters or gloves or whatever under there. It's not a big space in this particular one like the higher one. The logs do fit in it. You would get a fair few in there. But really, in the main, most people tend to stack that solid full of kindling because it's just a handy space to have. So we can put the kindling in the box like loads of it underneath. There's a guy in Attleborough, his name is Steve. I can get you the phone number if you want. And he does the great big Lidl's boxes for apples or that kind of thing. The fruit and veg boxes you get in the supermarket. He'll do you a great big box of hand-chopped kindling for £5. And there's mountains in that. It'll last you weeks and weeks and weeks. So if you want his number for them, Mike, just give me a ring and I'll pass it on to you, because it costs a fortune when you buy it at the supermarket. If I can work out how to work this. It's different for me. Ah, right, okay. So we're just going to light the fire lighter. and give it a few seconds to take. So I'll shut the door over and just give that these are quick fire lighters, which are one of my favourites because you get a great big tub of 100 of these things. They don't smell anything. They're in a cellulose packet. One is enough. You just light it and pop it in. And they never fail to light. And these fires never fail to light first time. They're just an absolute doddle to use. So just give it enough time to make sure that's established. You can see it's already catching the bark on that wood down there. So this pile is going to catch lovely and quick. And now that's caught, just shut the door and it'll start pulling away. Yep, so once your actual logs are starting to catch, and that was all of what? 10 seconds, 20 seconds tops. Literally, just shut the door. It doesn't need the door on this unit open for long. And it'll pull away nicely. And there's so much fuel in that firebox. It won't fail to take. Load wants to be a sensible size because we don't want to open the door again. Because what we're doing is we've got cold air up that chimney and we're trying to send hot air up to push all the cold air out. So if you don't put enough fuel for your first load in before you've got all the cold air out the chimney, when you do open the door to put a new log in is when it's likely to smoke back. And smoking back is the one thing that we don't want it to do. But it's dead easy avoided. So as soon as that fuel has caught, which it has done within seconds, we just shut the door. Then it's just a waiting game. Just be patient. There's plenty in that tower, that Jenga tower, to keep that going for about the next 45 minutes and to fully heat that chimney and the stove and the room pretty much. Now this is a big stove, but although it's a big stove, it's not actually that big a room and it's low ceilings, but you have got other rooms out through there and a stairwell obviously to upstairs. So I'm going to guess this room is what, about 16 foot square?
Correct.
Including the fireplace. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not normally too bad on measuring this. She's over measuring next door. So when you had that on, Alexa's coming to life. We've obviously woke her up.
Alexa, be quiet.
You're more polite than what we are to her normally. When you go through that door, Lorraine, how far is that heat actually getting taken from this fire?
Oh, when it's on full bore, you can feel it from to the other door.
Yeah.
And partially up the stairs, it starts.
Yeah, because it's a lot wider in the newer part.
We don't have it burning roaring because we can't sit in here.
No, well you wouldn't. But the whole point with this fire is this fire can actually go as low as 3 kilowatt, which is plenty for this room, but as high as 10.
If we had the fan on, went in this way,
forget it.
then it would.
Then it's which is what you wanted to do, really.
Yeah, to blow it out.
If we need it,
But 3 to 10 kilowatt is a massive range, and it will burn just as efficiently at 3 kilowatt as what it will at 10 kilowatt. It's just down at that point to your air control and how many logs you put in it. So barely burning on the minimum. You've seen in the shop how clean they run on no air at all, on minimal fuel. It's all about burning as little as you can rather than as much as you can once you've got a hot red ember bed. But it's taken nice and quick, and it's just give it some time because they're not slow and they're not fast. It's just don't open that door too quick and let it just do its stuff. Too many people are too prone to fiddling. Everybody wants to poke a fire. What is it with that? You just want to get your stick, don't you?
Fires.
Yeah, you just want to get your poker and give it a good prod.
You just prod it, yeah.
We're all too keen on prodding. That's looking lovely. Yeah, it's like you're a prodder. You're a prodder.
He's the prodder.
Yeah, we've all been there, done that. But yeah, it's catching nice in there. The baffle is blackening, but that's all right. Silver vermiculite line. That'll start burning off clean just shortly once that's caught right down that pile. Who's snoring? She's snoring. Oh, look. So what we're just discussing at the moment is the speed of the burn of fire. Now that is perfectly fine and not up to temperature, but how do we actually control the burn rate with these is semi-automatic. It does most of it itself. Once you get it up to temperature, you turn it down and it will still burn beautifully cleanly, and you don't touch it if you don't have to. You turn it to where your set point is, you leave it alone, and after that you just open the door and put a log in. That's what a Wham does. It controls all the air for you. Now, there's a couple of different times when that changes and kind of catches people out. The first thing is when you open the door. So if you've seen my other videos, or when I get back to the office, I will add a bit in, especially for these guys, for Lorraine and Mike. I've got a test rig that actually shows you what this stove does in the inside. So I'll add this into the video so they can see it later on. So when you open it up and shut it down, you'll see the mechanism moving up and down. And as you then apply extra heat, because this has got a biometallic coil in the inside, that coil reacts with the heat that it's experiencing that's above the baffle. So what happens in that case is, if it's not hot enough, the stove will automatically open the air more to give itself more draw, so it draws harder. And it does the same if your fuel's burning out. So when your fuel's burning really low and there's almost nothing left, and the gas temperature in the chimney is dropping, the stove will increase its air to burn the fuel off more efficiently to give you the cleanest optimum burn. It controls its level, that if it's too fast, it'll slow itself down a bit. So it depends on the stage and the state of the burn. The confusing bit is, your stove, when you put a log in, if it's already hot enough, can flame up really quite fast to start with, but you've just opened the door. So when you've opened the door, you've dropped the air pressure. So although the stove is burning really hot and you've just put something else in, the air control, because you've dropped the pressure and dropped the heat in the firebox, burns faster, hotter than you think it is, because you've cooled the air in the system down until the biometallic strip picks back up. So it takes a little bit of getting your head round till you're used to it, but hopefully I'll be able to show you when we do this video, and then it'll make a bit more sense. Because sometimes these things are hard to explain, because I know what I'm talking about, but I don't really know how to make much sense to anybody else until I actually physically show you. And it doesn't read easy on paper. Don't open the door before we need to, because if you open the door, you're letting the pressure rise and fall.
Yeah, it's confusing it again.
It confuses things. Yeah. So more modern stoves, what a modern stove is designed to do is to push the heat output out into the room. So if you open the door at the wrong point, it's going to push smoke out into the room. So we only want to open the door when we need to open it. You little snowy dog, bless her. She's quite happy. So in the inside at the back, you will see the baffle, that semicircle in white, is actually starting to clear, because the internal firebox is starting to get up to temperature. And our air is currently fully open. But we don't want to turn this stove down yet, because it's not yet up. So we don't want to turn that down yet, because the whole unit is, my camera's filthy. All right, Mike's telling me it's been 14 minutes because he set a timer since we lit this fire. So you can still see all my kindling is still on the top. I can't zoom in here. All the kindling is still on the top. The logs are on fire. There's loads of burn time on this, but our chimney's still cold. The fan isn't even up to temperature, which means the top isn't yet even at 45 degrees. I think that top is about 25 degrees. The top's not hot yet. There's plenty of heat starting to come out the front, because these stoves are designed to push all the heat into the room and put very little heat out the back, tops and sides, although they will get hot. A bit hot to touch, but not excessively hot. They're pushing all the heat forward. So there's good heat coming off it already, but the casing is nowhere near hot. The casing will take 45 minutes, an hour to fully get up to temperature. But the firebox is heating nicely and it's at a good burn rate. I'm not concerned about the burn rate. It looks like it's just fine. But we need it to heat up first before we start fiddling with it. Always leave that, or I'm going to leave that on the full air until the whole system's heated up. This is why sometimes I come and run them with people, because it makes a big difference when you actually see what you're doing with it and what you know what to do, because every stove's different and it burns different in every chimney, and sometimes it's just a bit of reassurance. I love her snoring. Look at that. I love her snoring. She's so cute. Difference, just knowing they're right and you're confident with it and you want to use it and it's burning beautifully. but we think this one's probably had a piece of high resin contact. Has
That's
high resin
possibly
contact
what it was.
with, like was in the other video the other day,
Yeah.
which is just made you feel a little bit insecure because that's burning at a lovely speed as it is. It's not quite up to temperature. In the inside, the baffle, we've got a couple of dark spots. That's nearly gone. When they've gone, the stove internally is up to temperature. Not the whole chimney yet, but look how much fuel we've still got in there. That was the kindling fire, and that's been a while ago now. The firebox is up. Lovely and clean in there. There's the kindling still on the top. And that's got to be, what, about 25 minutes or so now since we got that lit. And there's easy another 20 minutes or more in there. And that's just on our first initial lighting burn. So, you know, once you're onto bigger logs, you'll get longer out of it and then turn it down. But it's hot enough now. The top, this is a convection unit, so there's an air gap in there. It is starting to get hot. It's not as hot on that side at the back as it is here. If I put that on here, probably needs a kickstart on those two blade ones. No, it's not hot enough yet. Mine are low start temperature at 45 degrees. That's a different one. That's going to take a bit more heat to get it going. But let's just see now and turn that air control down. You shouldn't need to. But with the Wham, once it's up to temperature inside, you can turn this air control down. And the biometallic strip that's in the inside, turned it right down, Lorraine. So what will happen now is there's a biometallic strip on the top left-hand side of that baffle in the inside. And that will react to the heat that's in the firebox. So if the stove doesn't have enough heat, it's going to give itself more air it's heated the chimney and the stove up. And then once it hasn't, it will calm itself back down. So it self-auto-regulates its heat. So all these guys literally need to do is wait until this gets down to chunky red ember, open the door and put another log in. There is no requirement to be turning it up and down all the time. Just leave your air the same and it'll maintain that burn speed. It'll just do it itself. It'll look like it's a bit faster to start with. And the reason it is a bit faster is because you've opened that door, so you've dropped the air pressure, which has cooled the biometallic strip. So it makes it burn faster when you've put a new log in. So just let it, as it regulates itself and the air gets back up to the right temperature and the surface of the log is burnt back off, that will auto-correct itself and turn back down. Look how cute she is snoring. What we're just discussing is actual fuel and problems with fuel storage. So this, not the winter just gone, but the winter before was the wettest year I've ever remembered. So there's not, it means that my suppliers ran out of fuel because it was so wet. And then last summer was really wet, which meant we only had about half the normal drying time. So where I'd normally burn barn stored, a lot of it hasn't been great this last year because indoor suppliers just didn't have enough space and enough time to actually season the wood the way they normally would. And it's not been that great, to be perfectly honest. So I actually brought in some kiln dried. And kiln dried costs a lot more money because it takes a lot of fuel and transport about the country to dry it. So I've got some kiln dried oak and I've got some kiln dried birch. And that's what I'm burning at the moment. Birch is a softer hardwood, so it burns with a lot of flame and it takes off ever so easy to get up to temperature. And that's what we're burning just now. And that's been going half an hour on our kindling burn and there's loads of time left in that. But when you've got the right stuff and it's the right dryness and the right hardness, it burns for ages and ages and ages. Now, the birch won't burn as long as what the oak does. The oak will burn longer, but effectively is more heat release. So it's same sort of thing, but over a longer period of time. I'm not explaining this very well, but basically the weight of the wood is what gives you the heat output. So 1 kilo of feathers, 1 kilo of wood is still 1 kilo. 1 kilo of birch, 1 kilo of oak is still 1 kilo. The harder wood will burn that bit longer with the same heat release because it's 1 kilo. 1 kilo of dry wood is 1 kilo of dry wood. But a birch log for 1 kilo will be bigger than 1 kilo of oak, which is heavier because it's denser. So we were describing it like tubules through the middle almost like straws. So if you had a big stack of big straws with big holes, it's more volume, but it will burn faster than if it was tighter, denser straws. Yeah, kind of. So the kiln dried, for value for money, takes up a lot less space because of how it's cut and stacked. But if you work out what the loose volume is, I've currently paid about 50% more for kiln dried compared to what I would normally buy the same loose volume loose. But it's given me a hell of a lot more heat output, and takes up a lot less storage space. And currently, for the value of what I've been getting, the kiln dried is working out a cheaper buy for the heat output that I'm getting out of it. And I'm getting really red faced, and I haven't got any makeup on because I'm sitting in front of this fire and it's nicely toasting, and that's still on its kindling burn. So we've still got some kindling ember on the top, and these were about, this little pile was about 2 inches square, and we were at how long, Mike, on your watch?
We're now on
35.
35.
35 minutes, and that's easy. Got probably another 20 to go, and we reload on chunky red ember, and that nice pile will give us our red ember base, and our firebox is up to temperature. And Lily's snoring. Bless her. She's awesome. So we've put a bit of kiln dried oak on there. Straight onto the hot red ember. And oak's hard, so it takes a wee bit of time to get going. You can see it's firing itself back up in there, and that'll catch in a minute. But it's lovely and clean. We've got plenty of red ember, so typically one's enough. Now, what you will see in comparison when you stick birch in with this flaky bark is that takes really quick because it's very fast burning, and this is very slow burning. So for later, and I'm not staying here all night, we've got Mike's reset his timer and going to tell me how long that oak lasts on low air. But that'll catch and just burn slow.
So that's been on 5 minutes.
10 past.
5 minutes.
10 past.
We'll find out. So we've got 2 logs in there now, and the burn rate is turned up for about a quarter to half open from minimum. And that was just burning really nice and stable with a rolling flame. And it looks fab in there, and it's just nice and steady. So we're not looking for a bonfire, and we're not looking for a damp squib, and the inside is absolutely spotless, as is the glass. So that's just lovely. Right, so we were just saying a lot of it, that phone screen again, I get it filthy. So we're just saying it's all about the burn speed. So that is a nice controlled fire. And it's about a quarter off of open, or turn it the rest of the way down actually, so that you can see it drop. It's mainly shut down at the moment. We want it just on a slow rolling flame, which is this is doing. It's not a bonfire, it's just a nice steady burn, and the inside staying nice and clean. But because this stove controls itself, and the biometallic strip is very responsive, when I open this door, the heat on the metallic strip is obviously going to drop. So when I shut the door, the logs are going to flame up a lot more. That's got nothing to do with the control of the stove. It just means that your biometallic strip has cooled a bit and needs time to react. So there's no issue with that at all. The door handles on these are nice and cool. I'm going to open the door. Not that we need to, because we shouldn't be really. It's got plenty of fuel in there. You can hear it pulling and that air in. And then when I shut the door, it's burning a lot faster and hotter than what it was. That's because the stove is opening its own air up to increase the burn speed and increase the temperature in the firebox because of the temperature of the biometallic strip above the baffle. So until that because we've dropped the air pressure within the stove, so it thinks it's colder than what it is. So that will just take a minute or two and then stabilise and calm itself back down as the biometallic strip comes up to temperature. So shortly I'll put on another bit of video that actually shows you what that air control system at the back of the stove, which is built in, does. You like that one?
I love it. I'm really pleased. It suits me. It's the right handle. right height.
Right height, you can get to it without
I can
bending
get to
over,
it,
because that
yeah.
was really important for you,
Well,
wasn't
because
it?
I've issues in my back and in my hips and everything. It's easy for me.
It's nice and high up,
do.
you're not having to
Yeah.
bend too high, and the
Yeah.
handle is nice and secure and dead
yeah.
easy to open and shut, and it doesn't get hot.
No.
So it's dead easy that you're not losing your balance. So I can see from here that where I am directly in line with that fire, it's going right through your hallway into your living room. You've got a great big living room out the back. Do you get a lot of heat through there off this eventually?
No, well, I've not noticed
The
it
office,
because we
were
had
you
the
never in there
doors.
when we were putting the fire on?
Yeah.
Thing is, we're actually burning this really low.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
burning only about 3 kilowatt at the
true,
minute at its
actually.
bottom level. So
If it was full, was it 10 kilowatts?
it does right up to
If it
10.
went, yeah, I suppose we would notice it, leaving
Yeah.
the doors open.
Yeah, it'd have nowhere else for the heat to go, so we would certainly notice it.
No, but we're burning it to its absolute minimum. It's all you want when you've got a ceiling with such a
but
low
no,
ceiling.
it's
You'd
not
cook
got
in here if it was too
As I
high.
said, we don't have to use the heating, central heating.
No, but it's giving
It's so
you,
warm,
it's giving you
it's
the,
going through.
yeah.
And so we don't need to have the heating on in the hallway.
But
or
it's giving you
anything.
the physical size
Yeah.
in a big fireplace, but in a room that's actually fairly small with a low ceiling. So it's giving you the look that you want and the functionality you want, because it can burn so low and so clean, yet be lovely and big in a small to medium or even a large space, because it's such a capable
I'm
unit.
guessing that if we put it on in the daytime, if we wasn't sitting in here, we could have it on high,
Just have
and
it
it
on
would
high
warm.
Warm through there, if you
Go
weren't
through
in there to
downstairs,
push
it
it
would
through.
be
It would
enough of
absolutely
it.
push through there,
Yeah.
because it's going to go through that doorway, and you've got such a big wide open space. Do you mind if I just walk through there with that and show you the space? Tap. So they've got a great big open plan space through here. You can really tell the difference. You can really tell the difference, Lorraine, when you walk through there.
Yeah.
And then up the stairs. So there's loads for it to go. But from a distance, that's just perfect in there, isn't it? Size-wise, it's lovely. It suits that big angle. Thank you to these guys for letting me come and visit, and just letting them know that everything's okay and it's all running nicely, and let me see their lovely little house and their nice new burner, because it's always nice to see them. And we'll hear how this one does on its log for its burn time later. Well, I haven't quite finished that video yet, and I was going to put in a bit at the end about the Wham operating system. Now, I'm in the middle of a road run, I just ran out of time, and I'm currently sitting in a hotel room because I'm going somewhere else to do another video tomorrow, which should be really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to it. So what I'm going to do is just pop on a couple of links to previous videos that actually show you what the air control in the Wham does. So if you just click the button, which will be here or here, it will take you to the video on the previous one with the same air control system as the stove that you've seen in this video. And hopefully that will make sense how it works. So yeah, I'm cheating a bit. I hope you can forgive me, but you're going to so want to see the next video.